brothers and sisters, generals, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view. Hope you're having a wonderful walk. Well, not hope. I know that you're having a wonderful walk. If you're listening to the sound of my voice and other brothers and sisters that's looking to rise and looking to grow, and always stay on point and make sure that we're studying, reading, and listening to positive things and beneficial things that come into our mind, body, and soul that can keep us maintaining in the present and keeping that fire going, and we blaze in the future. And when we have studied human nature and ourselves, which is most important, the world will become our analytical playground righteously, and I say playground, not making light of issues in the world, person, place, or thing. When I say playground, I mean things become more clear. We become more clairvoyant. Different things come in our midst, righteous, of course, negative comes too. But when you are intact with one's emotions, and this brother or sister, young or older, family member, salute. When we are intact with our emotions, things become a little more, like I said, you see things better. You break things down. We don't jump off impulses anymore. We study things, and we begin to understand why certain behaviors pop up in different individuals, person, place, or thing. Like I say, treat this life, this world like a noun, break it down, see things for what it is through the mix of smoke screens, read between the lines. When we're able to get to a clairvoyant place like that, which can take almost a lifetime, depending on who the individual is. But once we go through the layers and the tests, emphasis on that, of knowing oneself and getting to the core of what makes us who we are. We truly are clairvoyant, and that great divine will just show us so many things. And once we open up to that great divine and get rid of all the superficial human errors, brother or sister, then it would take us into Mother Nature. We'll see the beauty in nature, and that just will be a reflection of the beauty we carry inside. But if we carry malice, bitterness, and we don't have a willingness to learn, and we don't care how we affect others, and we just want what we want, we're going to drown in that, and you're going to be stuck. You have to want to get up out the mud, but it always starts with oneself. Everyone has a choice if we're healthy, mind, body, and soul. Because as I like to say all the time, some of the greatest teachers in our history of all times. Maybe they have transition or current. You don't think they went through fires? You don't think some of them went through impossible things to get to where they are? So that's another thing of being on fire and staying whole and staying sane, is being mindful of others. It will keep that inner peace in our mind, body, and soul. Keep our psyche sharp, so we'll be able to see what that divine want to show us, see, hear, and feel. Because I got to tell you, brothers and sisters, experiences of life, and those who have that light will be able to agree with what I'm going to say. And we're going to speak on the benefits and the power of being unbothered. But it takes time, it takes practice to get to this state. But those of us that experience it know what I'm talking about. You have to stay with it. You can't let any and everything bother you, because what does that do? Tear down your immune system, send stress to your nerve system. Again, we have to pay attention to our spine, what we do, because we have energy that goes up and down our spine, and the messages we get from our brain goes up and down, or goes down our spine and throughout our nervous system. So if we're stressful all the time and everything bothers us and we're always down and out, and this could be brother or sister, younger or older, and we're always pessimistic all the time, we're not positive, and we're letting some hang up or something that disappointed us, deter us from being a righteous brother or sister, and we just downtrodden, we don't give a damn. I'm talking about if we're healthy, and we are able to do better, When we need things on the outside to fill a void, and you let bitterness enter, and you don't do anything about it, then comes stress, then come sores and aches in our bodies. We get headaches, and a lot of that. Now, some of it can be medical, but a lot of it is how we think. and how we are as an individual, especially if you're a rotten to the core, selfish individual, brother or sister. You're going to have headaches and aches and pains all the time. But of course, it starts with a thought. I say all the time, wherever the mind goes, the body goes. So you better keep your mind right. It's not a joke, again, because whatever messages we're sending up and down our spine, remember, it goes throughout our nervous system. So if we're thinking stressful thoughts all the time, or we're plotting against somebody, or we're thinking bad thoughts, and we're just fussing and flying off, and you're just tearing yourself down. And that's why you have aches, pains, sicknesses, because when you let stress enter one's body, once you are stressed, I'm talking about like all the time, on a regular, that makes way for sicknesses, because you're weakening your body. You're weakening your willpower when you just let stress just willy-nilly do what it want to do, just like the devil. When you let the devil just do what it want to do to your body, you're tearing down your immune system, and you're welcoming in sickness easily when you're stressed. Because when you're thinking of solutions and ways to better yourself, and you got your sights on the overall picture of the world and not just oneself, it helps a lot. Because when you're not drowning in anger, bitterness, and attention, and all this stuff that can blind us and stop us, you won't see things. You won't see solutions. You have to seek out solutions in life. A lot of times they're not going to just come to us. Only time that divine send things to us when our hearts is in the right place. But if our heart is not in the right place, it's just going to keep showing us over and over and over. And at some point we better learn, because what do I always say? Going to get old one day. So we better know the benefits and the power of being unbothered, because that's truly the only way to stay strong and have peace in one's mind, is to not be bothered by everything and love ourselves overall. Because when you got that divine love in the pit of that soul, everything else will fall in place, with the challenges along the way. But we have to do it on purpose. We have to get out of this human flesh way of thinking. As I said, folks, human flesh is not shit. Never rely on the human flesh. Stay away from temptations. Play out scenarios. Think about things. Think about things before we speak. We have to learn to think of the outcome, the future. Always got to have it in the back of our mind before we act or do or say things. I talk about impulses and emotions a lot, because again, folks, that was a challenge for me. That's where it all begins, with a righteous thought, how we think, and we have to think about the things that are more important. We can't let disappointments and sways of the world and person, place, or things stop us, especially if we got what? Children. So I want to read 3 summaries, my leaders and teachers with a student spirit. Before I get into these summaries, as I said on the podcast, still waters run deep, like my banner here. See how calm and relaxing that is, and looking at the sunshine. I love sunrises. That's a good thing to do, brothers and sisters. Those of you feel some kind of depression, or you feel sad about something, it's not always about what's on the outside that's making us sad. It's how we perceive things. It's not what makes us sad. It's us, how we think, how our mind is. We have strong willpower. Nothing can fuck with you. You have to study oneself. You can't always focus on person, place, or thing, because sometimes the problem could be us, real talk. So you have to look within yourself, and see how you can better yourself, and become the best brother and sister we can possibly be. But still waters run deep. So, and I brought that up because there's a lot of righteous brothers and sisters that, I say a mature brother or sister know how to be calm in any situation, whether aggressive storm or a subtle storm. So don't take those for granted that are quiet, I'm talking about righteous brothers and sisters that know how to be still in any storm. Now, those are the ones you better not mess with. So you can hoop and holler and threaten and all that, but a brother and sister that is able to compose themselves and maintain, as long as you're not hurting them physically, you better leave them types alone. Real talk. So, because still waters run deep in a brother or sister that have been studying themselves for decades, long time. So once we have mastered one's emotions, there's really nothing on the outside that can penetrate it. when you have a whole mind, not a piece of mind. Because we're in a different time now. You better have your whole mind together. Every part of our brain need to be working. All pistons firing. We can't let them flames ever go out. Not even a little bit. You know, we got to do things to study to stay sane and maintain. So those who are boisterous and got to talk loud and cocky, I'm talking about the ones that are not seeking righteousness or can't see it or not aware. I'm not talking about my righteous, confident brothers and sisters. But those who are cocky just to be cocky, you know, you have to reach inside, because those who usually talk the loudest, that I'm talking about that are not righteous, usually be the most scared and the most insecure. Real talk. The most secure brother or sister is the ones that's quiet. That don't have to brag. That don't have to show their strength. You will see it in their character and in their lives. So again, don't mess with a brother and sister that's still. You never know how deep that water might go. So I just thought I'd throw that little side note out there. And this is that was for all my brothers and sisters that know how to stand still in the midst of a storm, because we have learned to study to play out scenarios and know the outcome. When you've been there, done that, you learn the woulda, coulda, shoulda. Got to get out of that woulda, coulda, shoulda syndrome. All right, I want to get to these summaries for my leaders and teachers, current subscribers, anybody that view my general salute. We got 3 summaries. The first one, being unbothered can have many benefits, including facing challenges with courage. Unbothered people can face challenges with courage and bring peace to chaos. Kind of like what I was just talking about. You know, because when a person is brash and not aware of themselves and lash out and all that stuff, they have no defense against one who's still. And it takes practice to get to that point. But when we can, it's the most powerful thing in the world. So we're going to go to the second summary. It's recognized that living unbothered can foster resilience, less stress, as I talked about, inner sense of peace, which is main important. Because if you don't have peace within yourself, man, your life will show chaos and it will affect others, especially if you have children, family, significant other. You know, I love rhyming. Did I rhyme? I think that rhymed. But anyway, all right, moving on to the third summary. Being unbothered in the workplace. You know, I got a job too. Many of us have jobs. Means you can remain productive, make clear-headed decisions, and lead by example, even in challenging situations. And I'm sure many of us have had challenging situations on the job. I made a podcast on here, the benefits of being positive in the workplace, which is not easy all the time. And I think I kind of explained that in that podcast. And I'll put that in the end screen, and I'll put Still Waters Run Deep. I'll put those 2 podcasts in the end screen. And it's very important to study to be unbothered by things, you know. And we have to seek it out. You know, we have to read up on things or maybe listen to someone that has an expertise in that area of knowing how to be unbothered. Because, you know, like I say, things I've studied on my own, some I've learned, some things I've read, I've heard other speakers speak on. You know, it's good to listen to someone who has a little wisdom, is a little wise in certain areas. That's how we maintain. You know, and that's another thing I always say that we need to keep in mind. No one's better, just different. And it's not always outside events to make us feel down or sad. No, it's how we think and how we perceive things. But if we study the art of being unbothered, getting off into a space and really see what's going on with us and get to that, then we can begin to cleanse and heal, and we'll stop affecting others in a toxic way. And we can't do things to cover it up, like drinking, you know, other devices that just cover up things and it don't fix nothing. No, we have to get to the core of the matter and really fix ourselves. If we can't handle, you know, if we can't stop ourselves from jumping off impulses and saying things we regret and doing things, if we don't find ways to stop that or stop that kind of action or that kind of behavior, and it keeps going up into our adulthood, we're going to get old one day, folks. So if we want to live the best of our lives, we have to work on ourselves. It's never going to get away from that. Then we can become a leader of ourselves and begin to lead others a righteous way, not a cocky thing, not think we knowing everything. We have 2 ears for a reason, folks, as I heard from my great brother We have to listen more than we speak. When I say speak, with ourselves, we have to listen to that inner voice that tell us, we have to listen to that voice. We have to do, we can't be bothered by everything. I mean, if everything triggers you, sets you off, you're going to be in a whirlwind of hurt all the time, because things are always going to disappoint us. People are always going to disappoint us. That's just the way things go. And I'm not really talking about, it can either be a toxic person that could disappoint us, or it can be you, not you per se. I'm talking about you just in figure of speech in general. Or it could be you that's toxic. That's why we have to study ourselves, make sure we right before we judge another. You know what I mean? So again, like I always say, this for me too, folks. There's no getting around of studying oneself to keep oneself sane. And being righteous is more than just a word. It's a way of life, so we can live a good life, so we can see righteous returns. Things just don't work out sometimes. So what? Things don't go the way you want it. So what? Get over it, especially if you're an adult. You're an adult and still have childish like ways. I feel sorry for you if you're not trying to change yourself and you don't change. You're going to be a train wreck waiting to happen well into our adulthood. And that's the worst time to not have things together, especially when you get past them 50s and you still doing dumb shit and toxic and childish. And this brother or sister, there's no fool like an old fool. So let's not be an old fool. Everyone has a choice. We don't have to be daunting. We don't have to be sad. We don't have to carry malice, hate, jealousy, because things don't go our way, And when we're in that mindset, when everything on the outside is to blame, you won't see the good in you, because the good is in us. But we got to seek it out and we got to invest in it, And when things don't work out, we see why. We get to the root of it. We don't just and blast, and lash out and and curse and all this stuff. No, study ourselves, see why things went south, and get to the root of it, and we have to, introspection is always good, or connect to someone that cares about our well-being, and not just, you got to watch out when you're in that, I'll say, vulnerable state, when maybe you had a breakup, or, or it's something that's, it ain't always got to be a breakup. I mean, just anything in the world that kind of taps in, kind of sting us a little bit. And if we do confide into someone, it has to be someone that really cares about our well-being, not someone taking advantage of our vulnerability. So you have to be careful of that too. That's another reason why we study oneself and know ourselves, so we can so our discernment will be on fire. Because when you're in a state of chaos and you're always pessimistic and all that, I'm telling you, that's just the door opening up for the devil, and it comes through people a lot of times. So that's why we have to be stable. Don't just be looking to fill a void. No, whoever we connect with, make sure they're sincere. Study your discernment so they're not taking advantage of your vulnerability. Because it's nothing worse than a brother or a sister that's feeling down or sad, and then they confide into someone and they make the situation worse. So that's what you got to be careful of too. Confide in that great divine. Get in your, whether you pray or meditate, get off to yourself and talk to that divine. And it always got to be speaking physically. Do it in your mind. But you have to be sincere, and we can't be looking and asking for things. We speak to that divine why you feel that way, and ask that force to come in and help you fix oneself. And you'll see it, but you have to be sincere in one's soul. You can't be like, oh, I prayed and nothing's happening. No, you don't think about it. You just go to that great divine. Get in nature if you can. That's even better. But you get into a space and where it's quiet and talk to that divine and ask for what you need, not for what you want. But the most important thing we ask for is strength. And then we go on about our lives and try and still continue doing better, and not look for that thing we ask for that great divine. And that's how things will just happen out of the blue when we just least expect it. Because divine knows us, knows our heart, and knows us better than we know ourselves. So a divine hears us when we're sincere from the pit of our soul. It has to be sincere. Divine, a great divine, Mother Nature, is not a light switch. It's the biggest. Those two forces are the most powerful forces in the whole wide universe. We are like ants, I always like to say. So if we want things to get better in our lives, we have to be better. You have to give off better energy. You have to give off good energy in order to have good things coming back. Because if you're a downtrodden, pessimistic person, if you're around somebody that's intelligent and has that light, even if they don't say nothing, remember, still waters run deep. They know everything you're doing. They know every sneaky tactic. They know every lie. Just because a person is quiet, and I'm talking about a righteous brother and sister, it don't mean they weak. It don't mean they naive. They're just looking at you and just waiting for you to mess up your own self. Because a lot of times when a person is toxic within and trying to hide it, they'll pretty much they'll fuck up their own self. Sorry for the cursing, but and when you've studied yourself and you're not looking to do wrong, and others are, they'll mess their own selves up. And again, it's sad in some situations, but it's always going to come back full circle. Great Divine always make us deal with ourselves. I don't care how much you try to blame the outside. That Great Divine is going to point that compass right back in to ourselves. So you might as well deal with yourself and stop looking at things on the outside, because it's never going to get better. You have to love yourself, and you have to learn how to be alone sometimes with yourself. That's when that Great Divine to speak to you. He's trying to get you alone for a reason. Don't be, I'm alone. If you're always looking to fill the void and not taking those moments to yourself, you're never going to hear that divine voice within. Sometimes that Great Divine get us by ourselves for a reason, a divine reason. It's trying to show us something, teach us something, but we have to listen. As I said a few minutes ago, got 2 ears for a reason. So those are some of the things that was in my spirit. And like I said, being unbothered is not easy. I will never come off like it's an easy thing. But when we practice it and we do it, it brings so much peace in our lives and love. But when we begin to cut things off and cut that off, and you only care about how you feel just because you want to make things go your way. Okay, now you're stepping over into narcissism. That's another thing. Study narcissism. Look it up. See what it's about. You might not be aware of your behavior. You can't can't begin to fix our behaviors if we don't know what it is, if we're not aware of it. We have to become aware of our little twerks and things that trigger us, because as I always like to say 1,000 times, what we do righteous in the present will forever benefit us in the future. I want to read these 3 summaries one more time. The benefit and the power of being unbothered. Being unbothered can have many benefits, including facing challenges with courage. Unbothered people, or brothers and sisters, generals, salute, family members, can face challenges with courage and bring peace to chaos. Real talk. Because chaos can't fuck with a brother that has that, or sister that has that ultimate peace. Can't fuck with it. All right. It recognized that living unbothered can foster. It's recognized, that living unbothered can foster resilience, less stress, or no stress at all. An inner sense of peace, which is very, very important. Being unbothered in the workplace means you can remain productive, make clear-headed decisions, and lead by example, even in challenging situations. And like I said, most of our strongest family members, brothers and sisters in the world or online, have been through the worst. That's why we are so strong and confident today. Not because we're cocky confident, because we use our 2 ears for what they're supposed to listen, and that's just not just things on the outside. We listen to that inner voice that keeps that compass straight, as I heard a great brother say. I love rhyming, but man, when you can keep your divine compass straight and don't let that needle be jumping all over the place, and you can stop wrong behaviors, I'm telling you, nothing can fuck with you. But we have to take the time and invest in ourselves and get off to ourselves. Again, when we're alone, if we get thrown into a situation where we're alone, use that situation as a learning tool. See why you're alone. Don't be boo-hooing and crying. That's the devil sometimes. But if you got good discernment within yourself, if it's a sincere cry, because crying is good. Crying cleanses the soul. But it has to get to some point where you got to wipe the tears away, and you got to be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What caused this situation? You have to get to the core of it. And if you do this in every situation, you'll see yourself becoming better. But you have to learn to be by oneself in order to connect with everyone else. You know, if you got to fill a void all the time, you're going to be a hamster on the wheel. So especially if you got children, you know. So that's the main thing of developing unbotheredness, is by practicing being unbothered. Again, sometimes when we're thrown in a situation, when we're alone, that's when that great divine is trying to speak to us. You better listen. You know, it'll keep trying this, but you're going to transition one day. So let's have a graceful transition. It's the best way we can. You know, we set goals and set righteous plans. You know, we won't be no train wreck, because always keep in the back of our mind, gonna get old one day. And that's brother, sister, general, family member. So that's just a few things I wanted to speak on about the benefits and the power of being unbothered. And I'm sure many of those that are standing firm and got that light, brother or sister, family member, general, salute, know exactly what I'm talking about. So keep studying, you know, keep being a student, you know, and be thankful for the knowledge we have come across. You know, those who's having a challenge, you got to stay at it. You know, you have to deal with oneself. You know, you can get inspiration from the outside, person, place, or thing, but it's always going to come back full circle to oneself. In order to better your life and everyone else, you have to better oneself. You have to give off that kind of energy, because when you have those that have that light, just because we're not saying anything, we can feel, see, and hear everything. You get to that when you finally know oneself. But sometimes it takes time, sometimes a lifetime. But let's make it where we don't have to take a lifetime. You got to think of the future, and you have to be mindful of others' feelings and how we treat people, you know. Because, again, what we put out, say it together, folks, it always and forever come back, whether it's good or bad. So keep studying and keep knowing. And keep, like I said, keep knowing the benefits and the power of man, of righteously being unbothered. Salute.